Hi everyone, thanks for watching. This week's question comes from Angie in Lakewood, Ohio. She asked a great question. She wanted to know, how do we determine what we can afford or what to budget for the purchase of our first house? Which is a great question. I'm sure a lot of people ask. I know I asked that before we started our house hunting. So a lot of the online calculators are just going to ask you what's your monthly income, what's your debt, how much do you have for a down payment, which is a great jumping off point. Obviously, you need these numbers to make a calculation. However, a couple other things I would recommend to consider are not just those initial costs, but also the ongoing costs of owning a home. So starting with just the initial cost, obviously you have the down payment, which some loans you can even do no down payment. 0% to 20% is kind of standard. 20% being ideal, but people don't always have that saved or want to put that down, which is fine. Another big cost is the closing costs, which can get lumped into your mortgage, but you could save money by paying those up front or asking the seller to cover closing costs. Now on top of that, you actually are going to have to pay, don't have to, but recommend to pay a home inspector. That could be, depending on your area, $250 to $500. If you want radon or mold testing, all those things can be extra, but kind of a worthwhile investment if you think about the cost of purchasing a home, but something that you want to consider having, being prepared for to pay. Then on top of that, other things the calculators don't ask you about are, does the home you're buying need new appliances? Does it come with no appliances or maybe out-of-date appliances that you want to replace with something more energy efficient? Are you going to need more furniture? One example would be if you live in a 900 square foot apartment and you're buying a 2100 square foot house, you're probably going to be buying furniture shortly after purchasing that home. So that's something you might want to set aside or even have a separate savings account for. And then of course updates and repairs, that could be big or small. Depends if you're buying a fixer-upper. Obviously then you're going to be considering probably getting estimates or how much the DIY is going to cost if you want to do that on your own. So those are all the initial costs to consider. But what I think is also important is the ongoing costs. So you're going to have your mortgage payment, which may or may not include your property taxes, and then PMI, which is private mortgage insurance. That's if you put less than 20% down. You can find this out from the terms of your loan or talk to your real estate agent about that or your lender. That's the big thing, obviously, the mortgage. But then you're also going to want to have homeowner's insurance, which a lot of these calculators don't account for. So you can get quotes from your current insurance company, you can shop online. Depending on the value of your home and the estimated cost to rebuild, that's what's going to affect your homeowner's insurance. On top of that, you want to consider ongoing repairs. So any home, even if it's a brand new home, down the road you're going to have repairs, whether that's plumbing, electrical, something outside, whatever that is, you want to consider what those costs of repair might be. Obviously you're estimating, but if you're the type of person who can watch a video on YouTube and do it yourself, that's great. You can save some money, maybe budget a little less for that. But if you're the type of person that says, I'm just going to call an electrician, I'm just going to call a plumber, that's fine too. You just want to consider, to be prepared for that, what those costs might be down the road, as well as upgrades. So upgrades might be, the half bathroom looks okay when we buy the house, but we know 2 years from now, we're probably going to take the whole thing, gut it and replace that. So something you want to consider being prepared for and just budgeting for that. So if you're thinking about offering, $200,000 on the house and you're going to spend another $10,000 in a couple years, keep those numbers all in mind when you're house hunting. And then one other thing is yard work and cleaning. So some of that might be fun. Some people love to garden, do their own yard work. That's great. You can save money. But again, the example, if you're moving from a 900 square foot apartment and you're not usually doing any repairs, you're just calling your landlord, that's great, but you want to account for that in the future, how much time or money that's going to cost you. If you're going to pay someone to do house cleaning regularly or yard work, you're going to have, a landscaping company or a neighborhood kid come and do that for you. You want to set up for that in your budget. So the other thing I would say is just to, use these online calculators as a jumping off point. I'll put a link below. There's tons of them. You can just even Google, how much house can I afford? That's going to give you a basic number, but you also want to consider these ongoing costs as well as what you're actually comfortable with. So an online calculator or a mortgage lender might pre-approve you and say, great, you can afford a $500,000 house. But if you're gonna get that loan out and then you can't sleep at night because you're so stressed that this is, stretching your budget, those are factors you want to consider, not just those, initial costs or just not what the numbers say you can afford. But I would try to consider all these factors. Talk to your real estate agent. They're going to be a great resource for you to answer questions and hopefully be realistic with you about what's going to fit your needs. So if you have any comments, leave those below. If you have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer those in another video. So send those to me anytime. In the meantime, be thrifty, be kind, and hug the ones you love. Thanks so much for watching.